Class agriculture is one of the three most dangerous industries in the world, exposing the agricultural workers to a wide variety of hazards. So precautions should be taken to minimize or eliminate these potential hazards. For this week, we will be dealing with applying safety measures in farm operations. Class, here are our objectives, okay? So the first one is to identify work tasks in line with farm operations. Second, we have to apply safety measures while working on a farm, especially on the use of tools and chemicals. And for the third one, we have to prepare appropriate tools, materials, and outfits in line with the job requirements. Let's define some of the important key terms, okay? So for the first one, we have the word safety. Safety refers to the physical and environmental conditions of work which comply with the prescribed standards, allowing the workers to perform without hazards. Next, we have the term hazard, okay? So hazard is anything with the potential to cause harm. So hazard has an adverse effect on an employee's health. Anything which may cause injury or ill health to anyone at or near a workplace is a hazard. Class, we have the term risk, okay? So risk is the likelihood that a hazard will cause injury or ill health to anyone at or near a workplace. So the level of risk increases with the severity of the hazard and the duration and frequency of exposure. So class, what is exposure? Okay, exposure occurs when a person comes into contact with a hazard. Class, let's proceed to the different types of hazards. So we have physical hazards, mechanical or electrical hazards, chemical hazards, biological hazards, and psychosocial hazards. Let's start with physical hazards, okay? So physical hazards include awkward posture and a poorly designed tool. It can cause also permanent injuries and disablement, okay? So what are the examples of physical hazards, okay? So it includes floors, stairs, work platforms, steps, ladders, fire, okay? Falling objects, slippery surfaces, okay? Manual handling or lifting, pushing, pulling, okay? So excessively loud and prolonged noise, vibration, heat and cold, radiation, poor lighting, ventilation, air quality. So those are some of the examples of physical hazards. We also have mechanical or electrical hazards. So take note of the following terms, okay? So it includes impact, okay, or being hit by ejected parts of the machinery or equipment. Okay, we also have the term entrapment, being caught in a moving part of a moving machine or of a machine or equipment or plant. We also have the term entanglement. So for example, a loose sleeve getting caught in a moving part and throwing the person into the machine. So it includes electricity, machinery, equipment, okay, pressure vessels, dangerous goods, okay, forklifts, and cranes and hoists. So those are some of the examples of mechanical or electrical hazards. Plus, we also have the chemical hazards, okay? So it includes chemical substances such as acids or poisons, okay? And those that could lead to fire or explosion. Okay, what are the examples? Okay, like pesticides, okay, herbicides, cleaning agents, dusts, and fumes from various processes such as welding, okay? So we also have the biological hazards, okay? So these are hazards contaminated by biological agents, tanks, ditches, and sewage infrastructure. So it also includes bacteria, viruses, mold, okay, insects, vermin. So those are some examples of biological hazards. For the last one, we have the psychosocial environment hazards, okay? So it includes workplace stressors arising from a variety of sources. So these are the stress, okay, that a farmer or a worker experiences during farm operation. Okay, so that is an example of psychosocial environment hazards. Last, let's enumerate the farm emergency procedures regarding safety work and environment. So first, we have to identify the potential emergencies. Okay, so the emergencies that may occur on a crop production farm could include fire, flood, typhoon, machinery entrapment, okay, electrical shock, snake or spider bite, chemical exposure, injuries, illness, and accidents. Okay. So second, we have to provide emergency facilities appropriate for the sort of emergencies that might occur on the farm. Okay, so for example, we have deluge showers, okay, eye washers, firefighting equipment, first aid kits, okay. Next, we have to make sure that the correct equipment is available to contain and handle any chemical or other dangerous material spills that might happen. Class help minimize the risk of personal injury or property damage in the event of an emergency. So meaning people working on and visiting on the farm need to know and understand the emergency procedures and their responsibilities. Okay? Also instruct everyone working on the farm in the emergency response procedure. So everyone should know the location of fire alarms, fire extinguishers, and first aid kits. So how and where to contact emergency services, and where to safely assemble in the event of an emergency. Class, let's enumerate the factors that may increase risk of injury or illness for farm workers. The first one, we have the age. Okay, so injury rates are highest among children aged 15 and under, and adults over 65. We also have equipment and machinery. So most farm accidents and fatalities involve machinery. Proper machine guarding and doing equipment maintenance according to manufacturers' recommendations can help prevent accidents. Class, let's proceed to the farm works that involve using chemical hazards and hazardous tools and equipment present in farm works. So for the first one, we have spraying chemicals. Okay, so many different chemicals are used on a farm, including pesticides. So these chemicals are used to fertilize and to control pests such as insects, what else? Weeds, mollusks. So most of these chemicals are applied by spraying. Examples of chemical hazards include spraying in a strong wind and the spray drifting over a dam or the farmhouse, washing spray equipment and the water running into open drains, okay, collecting in puddles or running into stock yards or dumps. So containers or chemicals left lying around, okay, empty containers lying in a heap. So those are the examples of chemical hazards. Ways you can reduce the risk of hazard from chemicals. So for the first one, we have to use personal protective equipment such as respirators, waterproof clothes, rubber gloves, and waterproof footwear. So safe work practices or personal protective equipment should be used. Okay. Next, make sure chemicals are safely stored and cupboards locked. Never spray chemicals on days when there is a high wind. Okay. No first aid procedures. Keep a list of all hazardous substances used on a farm. Okay, so keep records of farm chemicals. Consider if a chemical substance is really needed. Eliminate a hazardous substance, or if that is not possible, substitute it with less hazardous one. So the second is the land preparation using tractor. Okay, so victims fall off or are thrown from the tractor, so run over by either the tractor or an implement that being towed or both. We also have the overturn. Okay. Class, here are some safety reminders, okay? So tractors are not passenger vehicles, okay? So use seat belts when driving tractors, okay? Causes of run over accidents. We have sudden stops, okay? Driving over holes, stumps and debris, or a sharp turn. So how to prevent run over, class? Never allow riders on the tractors. Discuss with family members and farm workers the potential risks of riding tractor. It's also helpful to post no rider decals on all tractors to remind others about the policy. Use or provide other vehicles that allow passengers such as trucks or cars when transportation is needed to fields or remote work sites. A chainsaw makes light work of felling and cutting up trees, but treat it with respect. Okay, so a chainsaw can easily slice through muscle or bone if it kicks back towards you. It's essential to get training from a qualified person before you use a chainsaw. Okay, so examples of chainsaw hazards. We have chainsaw kickback. It is caused when the upper part of the bar nose contacts a solid object or a pitch. This throws the guide bar back towards you and can cause serious injury. Also, using a small saw and bar to fell a big tree. Felling large shelter belt trees or trees with a heavy lean or on a steep slopes. Felling trees with stem rot or species prone to splitting. Class, here are some ways you can reduce the risk of hazards from chainsaws. Know your saw and how to use the safety devices. Wear and use the correct personal safety equipment. You'll be needing the following: footwear, boot with steel toe cups, leg protection, chainsaw operators, safety trousers or chops, safety helmet, earmuffs, rated grade for eye protection, goggles in dusty conditions, or helmet visor if there's a danger of flying debris. Check the work area for hazards such as branches or treetops that could fall. Check that your saw is in good order and adjusted to the manufacturer's specifications. Do not overreach or cut above shoulder height. Let's proceed to the different personal protective equipment or PPE. So PPE can reduce the number and severity of farm work related injuries and illness. Personal protective equipment not only helps to protect people but also improves productivity and profits. So farmers and the ranchers can share in these benefits by using the appropriate protective equipment for themselves, family members, and employees when the job and its potential hazards call for it. Last, let's proceed to the different personal protective equipment which are very applicable in farm operation. So first, we have to protect your head with a hard hat. So when performing construction work, trimming trees, repairing machinery, and doing other jobs with head injury risk. So use a sun safety hat, one with a wider brim and neck protection to assist in the prevention of skin cancer. Of course, we have to protect your vision with appropriate safety eyewear. Okay, safety glasses, okay, safety goggles, face shields when applying pesticides, fertilizers, or working in the shop or in heavy dust conditions. Okay, so for the third one, we have to protect your hearing with acoustic ear muffs or plugs when operating noise equipment such as wind dryers. What else? Yes, feed grinders, older tractors, okay, chainsaws. So we have also to protect your lungs with the correct respiratory equipment. Okay, so we have the dust masks, the cartridge respirators, the gas mask, okay, what else? Air pumps, okay. So when working in dusty or moldy conditions, spray painting, applying chemicals, working in bin tanks, silos, what else? And manure, okay, manure storage places. Okay, so those are some of the personal protective equipment needed during farm operations.
Class, do you have any questions? Feel free to send me a message. Goodbye and thank you.